Russian television has shown Mr. Putin arriving in Mariupol and then somehow driving around as well. I don't quite understand how you get both the helicopter and the car, but apparently his visit to Mariupol and his visit to Sebastopol had been planned spontaneously, and Putin had driven around the city on his own without a full motorcade escort, according to the Russian news services. It was the first trip by Putin to the occupied territory in Ukraine, and no doubt it was inspired by the news that he's been the subject of an arrest warrant by the ICC. And he then went on from Mariupol to Rostov-on-Don, where there's been an explosion, and he heard he received a briefing there from Valery Gerasimov, the main commander of the Ukraine campaign. And the unannounced trip presumably is a way for Mr. Putin to demonstrate that he is determined to press ahead with this campaign despite the threat of the ICC, and that he repudiates this idea of individual criminal responsibility. He's not commented himself on these charges, and he also, the Children's Rights Commissioner, Maria Lvova-Belova, hasn't commented on the fact that she was also included in an ICC arrest warrant. But he's seen driving a black Jeep through the streets of Mariupol, accompanied by Marat Krushnulin, who showed him the efforts of the Russians, the Kremlin sponsored attack forces to rebuild the city that they pretty well decimated. In fact, gone further than decimated. To decimate something is to remove 10% of something. I believe Mariupol has been significantly more damaged than that. So he was taken to Mariupol's new concert hall, and that's where Russia plans to hold show trials of Ukrainian prisoners of war. And he was shown talking to local residents who are praying for him and thanking Russia for rebuilding their apartments. And Ukraine, meanwhile, says that 22,000 of the pre-war population of Mariupol died in that siege. I know people who had businesses in Mariupol, not anymore. Brave people who have been fighting on the front line, and they are an example to all of us of the commitment and the tenacity and the rightness of the Ukrainian troops, the resolve of the Ukrainian troops, and the idea that people are returning to Mariupol in huge numbers thanks to Russia's reconstruction efforts. This is the Russian propaganda. It's complete rubbish. People have started to come back, says Krushnulin. When they saw the reconstruction underway, people started actively returning. Utter rubbish. Utter rubbish. This rebuilding effort is an illusion. And the idea that the Ukrainians who have died in Mariupol are Nazis, which is what Putin said yesterday evening in Mariupol, it's rubbish. Utter rubbish. Propaganda and filth.